Alright, and welcome back to Blackphoenix Entertainment. Let's talk about group rides, let's talk about solo riding, group riding, multi-riders, all of that fun stuff, because honestly, I don't think I've really talked about it, and if I haven't, it's been a long time, so let's talk about it. So, you guys know me, riding solo most of the time. I think that number used to be like 90-95%. I would put it down to about 80-85% now. I'm riding with a lot more people now. Not so much large groups, but just, you know, 5 or less, 10 or less, something like that. And then some more group rides as things happen. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with these lights here. So, yeah, mostly solo riding by myself. I don't care. I get to go where I want, stop when I want, eat when I want, vlog when I want. Most of the time it's vlogging, doing solo stuff like that, because it's a little bit harder doing, I mean for me, doing a vlog in a group ride or with multiple people that's not related to that ride, just because I have ADD and I can't focus on anything, and you're looking, you don't want to lose people, all of that. So yeah, that's where a lot of my solo riding comes in, and a lot of that's just timing too. Now, like I work a ton during the week, and the summer obviously is a little bit easier, but other than that, it's hard to get out and meet with people and do the riding that we can do during the week. And weekends, again, it's like it's a crapshoot. It's like, do I have time to meet somebody? Is it an all-day ride? Like all that type of stuff. So schedule and timing and all that aside, I don't mind riding solo or in groups at all. Like it's the very large groups, like we're talking like, I don't know, probably 30 plus, like that. It's starting to get to me. At first I was like, oh, this is cool, you know, because it's new. You're like, oh, I get to ride with all my brothers and all this stuff, and then you realize like, wow, it gets old fast if it's not what's the word I'm looking for? I have no idea what word I'm looking for. Alright, give me 1 second. I figured out the word. It took me so long. I was like, what letter does this word start with? No, if it's not organized, if it's just an unorganized mess of like 25, 30, 40 bikes, like it's not going to be fun for anybody. If it's organized, you said, you know, you got a road captain, you got a tail gunner, you got all that stuff, you got some communication, you got hand signals, then it gets a little bit more bearable and all of that. And the other thing is, if you've ridden together before with the people, if it's 30 all new people, you guys never ridden together before, you don't know the riding styles, all that stuff, that's much worse than 30 people who know each other, who have been riding together for years, and they know how people would react to certain situations. So I'm going to get more into that in a little bit. So the small groups, you know, whatever, not a big deal. I'm doing that, like I said, a lot more. Super fun, just hang out, go out, have a quick lunch with people and all of that, and it makes for a fun day or a fun couple of hours depending on how things are panning out. The slightly larger groups than that, which is most of the group rides I'm going on now, I'm going to call that between 10 and 20, and that's not bad either. Again, I've ridden with these people a lot, and we know each other. They know how I ride on this 3-wheel Can Am Ryker. I know how they ride on their sports bikes and stuff. Hold on, people don't pay attention here, so, because this lady hasn't even looked over here once. Anyways, yeah, so I know how they ride, so it ends up working out. It's tough for me and any real 3-wheel rider is bikes like to ride staggered, and I think they forget that we're wide. We can't do that on most roads. And two, they will wind up right here, like, because there's like this little gap room right there, and that is a bad spot to be. Not so much on a straightaway. You cannot be there as a 2-wheel motorcycle on the inside or the outside of a turn on a 3-wheeler, because one, we need the room. Like for me, if I'm speeding through a corner, I'll hit the apex and come back out to the outside, and if you're there, well, you're out of luck. And if something happens, if the rear end kicks out on a Spyder or a Ryker and you're there, we have to adjust by moving up, or you know, depending on how it is, we have to make that adjustment. If you're there, again, you're out of luck. So I tell people who haven't ridden with three-wheelers before, I'm like, you gotta give me room, especially in the corners. Like, if you want to pass me, let me know, give me a signal or something and go, but for the most part, I'm gonna be keeping up with you on the back roads. But yeah, just I've run into that a couple times, and I've almost been clipped a couple times in the front wheels, again, because people don't realize how wide these things are. And for some reason, I feel like the Ryker is wider than the Spyder was. Maybe it is. I haven't done the math on it or looked anything up yet, but I don't know. It just got, you know, feeling it out and just making sure that everybody around you understands how you ride, your style of riding, and just the bikes that you're on, because again, every bike is different. Sports bikes are going to take corners faster than Harleys, cruisers, stuff like that. It just is what it is for the most part. So you got to put that into consideration. Now, the larger group rides, again, if they're, I'm going to say somewhat organized. If they're somewhat organized, I'm okay with it. If they're super organized, great, makes it for a much better day. I will not do a large unorganized group ride. I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. Like, around here, way too many people have crashed. There's been way too many things going on, and those types of rides are not the places to do wheelies. They're not the places to lane split or do racing or anything like that. Like, those rides are, you're doing that ride and that's it. Like, if you want to split off, either go ahead or stay behind the group and do that stuff, totally fine with that, but not the leader, the people up front should not be doing wheelies. If you're up front doing a wheelie and you wipe out, you got 20 other something bikes behind you that have the possibility of hitting you and your bike and all of them wiping out. It's just, and I've not seen it that catastrophic, but I have seen something similar to that locally, and it's just terrible. One other thing that's more pertinent to me and the Ryker itself is the braking on the Ryker sucks. The brakes are just totally underpowered for the machine. So I do a lot of engine braking, which doesn't kick on the rear tail lights, which doesn't really tell the person like, hey, I'm slowing down. But the engine braking is so good on this that I can do it most of the time without even tapping the brakes. But if I do have to hit the brakes, I got to give myself some more room. So I think what happens is people see that extra room and they're like, oh, I'm just going to sneak in right here. Like, you know, bikes will pass and go whatever. Like, no, I need that room because I need to stop. Because, again, the brakes suck. So, things like that. And the people who know, they know. People who don't, you got to make them aware of that. So I think a lot of the larger group ride stuff is educating people, talking to people, figuring out, watching them the first few miles, see how they ride, be like, all right, I get it now, I see how this person's riding, and, you know, take action accordingly. All right, that's it for group rides and stuff. With all that being said, go down there, do the subscribing, the liking, the sharing, do the commenting, and while you're down there, go down there and check out my description. I got some cool stuff from Bill at BLRtuning, 3D printed stuff from Ironside Customs, and any money I make off merch or hat sales on this channel, that money gets donated to Moby Kit Rescue to save the kittens. Alrighty, let's keep riding and going. Thank you for rocking with the flock. See you guys on the next one.